What's up, guys? This is the article I just came across, kind of recent. It's from April. Basically about, it's kind of crazy. So basically now Jehovah's Witnesses are asking Japan to change their country's laws because they think that they should be able to deny children blood and let them die, and also not be investigated or not follow guidelines for child abuse. That is something that is absolutely disgusting. Also, hey, who better to tell you how to run your country than a Jehovah's Witness that likes silencing kids so they'll stay inside of the religion longer and giving children blood so they can die after a horrible accident. I think this says that they're seeking like 2 million yen per person from the state. It says the welfare ministry issued the guidelines to local governments across the country calling for child abuse consultation centers to take temporary custody of a child if there are acts that constitute child abuse, even if religious beliefs are involved. See, the guidelines were issued after the Shinzo Abe was fatally shot. His mother was a follower of the Unification Church. According to the court records, the plaintiffs are a Japanese of the U.S. headquarters of Jehovah's Witnesses in Ibidagawa Prefecture, and couples of believers with children from Tokyo and 6 other prefectures. The government guidelines presented in question and answer format give examples of what it deems physical abuse, such as whipping during religious activities. That was just a standard back in the 90s, and I'm sure it still goes on today. Absolutely, because they constantly give out demands that parents keep their children quiet, or it's disrespectful to God. It also cites parental acts that it considers neglect, such as refusing blood transfusions deemed necessary for a child by doctors. I think that the government should 100% step in, and I wish that this was a thing in America. Because, we recently learned that the governing body are indeed murderers of thousands of people, most of them being children, because for so many years, people tried to get around the blood transfusion, wanting to store their own blood for a surgery, and were told by leadership that no, you can't do that. Once your blood leaves your body, it is unclean. And especially for a child, children are very delicate, and children by no means have as much blood as an adult. They're just smaller. So people that, want to say that it's okay to give up your child's life, you won't take a blood transfusion so your child isn't either, you're a child abuser. Followers of Jehovah's Witnesses met with Japanese government officials in 2023 over the refusal of blood transfusions and other issues, and demanded a revision of the guidelines. Like I said, who better to tell you how to run your country than a Jehovah's Witness trying to get away with gross conduct with a child and also use of a child's life. This is a complete neglect of life. The suit was held in March last year. The first oral arraignment held in July of the same year, and closed proceedings have been continuing since then. In its complaint, the religious group said that the guidelines were drawn up without seeking input from independent experts. Everyone knows that Jehovah's Witnesses are the best experts, or members of the general public, namely them. Because honestly, I don't know of too many other religions that would sacrifice a child's life. Because it is. This is a blood sacrifice. Sacrifice a child's life over losing blood because getting blood is like unclean. There are so many things wrong with this, and the absolute audacity of these horrible people to sit there and go, hey, you need to change your country's laws because we don't agree with protecting children. You're disgusting, Watchtower. You are disgusting. It does happen over here all the time. When independent experts actually weigh in on Watchtower's laws, Watchtower calls it blasphemy, apostasy, acts from Satan's world, but when it's the other way around, it's holy. This is the extent that Watchtower expects people to go. This is the extent that they wish to take life from children. Wish to take their life mentally and physically. I would say spiritually, but honestly, I fully believe that there is no type of spirituality in Watchtower. It's just everyone reads the same print. You can't have a single thought to yourself. It's always Satan's world versus them. There's nothing good. There's only Satan's world. That's not fucking spirituality in the slightest. Seeking input from experts and members of the general public, namely the rank and file, right? Like, if you go up to any person on the street and you ask them, oh, hey, there was a child that needed blood because they had a horrible accident. Do you think that they should have a blood transfusion? Most people would say yes. To save the child's life, absolutely. Transparency. Lacking transparency. Saying yes to needing blood in a life-threatening situation is lacking transparency. It also claimed that the guidelines labeled parents' religious activity as potential child abuse. It is child abuse. You put your child in a situation where, not because they were in the accident, but because after the accident, you put your child in a situation where they cannot live. And then you say that your religion is about life. It's about life and joy and the paradise that God wants you to live in, where children die because when they need blood, they can't have it. Or the religious group claimed that the guidelines violate under the law of freedom of religion. Religious freedom does not guarantee freedom from consequences in either state. All individuals are still subject to national law. The public good is given precedence. There have been several incidents in Japan arising from witnesses' refusal to accept blood transfusions, including a widely publicized incident in 1985 when a 10-year-old boy died while his parents were expressing reluctance to allow the hospital staff treating him after an accident to use blood transfusions. This is how Watchtower gets their blood sacrifices from people. I mean, how else can I say it? You're allowing someone to die because a deity says that they can't live anymore if they lose too much blood. We have the technology, the humans on Earth all over the place have the technology to stop these deaths. But Watchtower brainwashes the rank and file Jehovah's Witnesses so much that they sacrifice their children up to them. I don't know how they don't see this as a complete opposite of, oh, this is life. This is how life is supposed to, and is about life and love and peace and happiness on earth, while you're sacrificing children. And by the way, there's nothing in the Bible that says you cannot have a blood transfusion. The only thing that says in the Old Testament is that, you should not eat, and you should pour it back into the earth. That's it. That's all it says. It does not say that you cannot have a blood transfusion. I don't really know the science of it. I feel like, though, if you just needed blood and you went and you just drunk some blood, I don't think it would help you at all in that situation. So that's why I'm saying that blood transfusions, how come all these children, all these people have had to die because Watchtower says, no, you cannot have blood transfusions? This is literally a child sacrifice, and there has been thousands of other sacrifices like it. I'm not a Christian. I'm just saying what I see. This is a child sacrifice. This is child abuse. That child's life was robbed from them. And thousands of other children's life have been robbed from them under Watchtower's rules. Blood transfusions have also been a topic of several lawsuits on religious freedom and informed consent, including a case resolved by the Supreme Court in 2000, which emphasized the significance of informed consent and the right to refuse medical treatment. I mean, yeah, sure, people should be able to refuse medical treatment if they don't want it. But at the same time, I just honestly cannot see doing that to anyone or a child. It's their life. I'm not saying that, that the child should decide for himself. That's completely within the parents' rights, because the parents are the guardians of that child. But if the child needs blood to live and you don't give them blood, you're killing them. I'm sure that this 10-year-old boy was not baptized either. He may have been, but also, if they're not baptized and you're forcing your religion on them and you take their life for it, you've murdered someone, in my opinion, and you've sacrificed a child to the God that you believe in. I just really think that not allowing children and it being legal to refuse children the help that they need to live when their life could be easily saved, it should just be justified as murder, and the practice of it being, or the phrasing of it being for just reasons, should just go into being sacrifice. I mean, it's really disgusting. Saying its believers have suffered serious discrimination because booklets based on the guidelines have been distributed at elementary and junior high schools across the country. The government has a right to do this. The government has a right to do this. The government stating to its children, that it has put in place protections for children and warning children about child abuse. How is that wrong? The government countered there's no provision requiring public consultation or expert review when issuing such guidelines. It argued that the guidelines give technical advice to local governments and that the examples are intended to help objectively determine whether certain actions constitute as child abuse. That's a really good thing to have. That's a really good thing to have. Because if it's printed right there on text, on paper, that this action constitutes as child abuse, and that action was done, there's no argument to be had. There's no need to waste time in the courts. And the best part about it is the person who did the abuse cannot get away from it, because it's already right there. And it also has the ability to warn children, because children are smart. Children know when they're being cheated, when they're being lied to. Children know this. Children are very smart. And children know when they're being abused. They just have to know what to do when they're being abused also. That's another important factor in it. This is something that I feel like is really good. And the fact that Jehovah's Witnesses want to take this away from the country just proves how vile they really are. And I'm not talking about the rank and file. I'm talking about the organization itself. Because as I've said before, there are lots of people that don't know anything about this. They just go to their church on Sunday. They sing, they listen, they go with the family and have the family dinner, and they're just living a normal life. There's so many people that don't know about the abuse and the mental abuse that is placed on them at such a young age, and they're brainwashed into believing it. I really hope that, this doesn't get changed for, I'm not Japanese, I'm not Asian in any extent. I just hope that the best turn out for people where abuse cannot be hid. They're already still abusing children in so many ways, and now they have all the videos out to brainwash the children. No longer just turn the TV on and watch TV or whatever. It's now turn the TV on and watch the JW app, so they can brainwash and mold your child from a very young age and remove the natural things that people have to tell them that something is wrong. Very scary. So I hope that, that abuse can be still be monitored and executed. Because this is really, really dangerous stuff. And it's not just happening in Japan, it's happening everywhere. And like I said, if you're an adult and you want to not have a blood transfusion, go for it. Go for it. But if you're a child under the government, they go to a government building every day to do what the government is telling them to do, which is learn about the world. And I don't really know how much of that is going on anymore, but they're still under the authority of the government. They are little government agents, really, because they go, to put it to you this way, teachers are government employees. They are. They work for the state or whatever, teachers are government employees. The students are required to go to a government building and learn, and are protected by the government even more so than adults, that cases where their life should be saved or could be saved with a procedure should just be chosen so they can go on to live instead of dying for something that isn't really a law in the Bible to begin with. And Jehovah's Witnesses are supposed to be people that live their life according to the Bible. There's nothing in the Bible that says you cannot have a blood transfusion. The Bible does say to pursue life, take care of yourself, take care of your body, and because you need that to serve God. But it doesn't say anything about not having a blood transfusion. It literally says, choose life. Be happy with the life, you know, and also, like, suicide is also considered a sin. I just don't know how not choosing life is looked at as a good thing. But Watchtower is known for implanting the two opposing opinions, where one, not choosing the blood, you're choosing life. And, you know, when you're actually really choosing death, well, you know, they love to flip it and confuse everyone. So if you choose blood, they tell you that you're choosing death because you're trying to be part of Satan's world. But if you don't choose the blood, then you're really choosing life when you end up dead. It's so sick and twisted what they do to people, and how many children have had to suffer because of things like this. And I really do feel like that child abuse is a huge thing that Watchtower is scurrying cover up and hide and silence as many people and keep as many people in so they can silence them more. Because they are definitely not an organization that cares about the rank and file's life. They care about how much money they can get out of you, and they care about how much time they can get out of you, and they care about replacing your natural thoughts with their thoughts.